Now, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will leave for Russia on Monday for talks with Russia's President Vladimir Putin as part of the 22nd India-Russia Annual Summit. It'll be Modi's first trip to Russia since Moscow launched its military offensive on Ukraine. The visit follows Prime Minister Modi's re-election for a third consecutive term. Modi last visited Russia in 2019 for an economic forum in the far eastern Russian port city of Vladivostok. He last travelled to Moscow in 2015. Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Sunday termed his upcoming visit to Austria as an honour on the occasion of 75 years of diplomatic relations between India and Austria. Modi will visit the country on the 9th and 10th of July. Thanking Austria's Chancellor Karl Nehammer, Modi took to social media platform X, and I quote, "It's indeed an honour to visit Austria to mark this historic occasion. I look forward to our discussions on strengthening the bonds between our nations and exploring new avenues of cooperation. The shared values of democracy, freedom and rule of law form the bedrock upon which we will build an ever closer partnership." Unquote. Now, Prime Minister Modi and President Putin last met 2 years ago at the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit that was held in Uzbekistan. Jessica Taneja has more on India-Russia relations.
India and Russia maintain deep economic and political ties that have remained resilient despite the constantly shifting geopolitical landscape. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit will be closely monitored globally, not only for its bilateral outcomes on economic and military ties, but also the anticipated discussions between the two leaders regarding the Ukraine conflict. India will continue advocating for dialogue and diplomacy to resolve the impasse. India's foreign policy is grounded in the principle of strategic autonomy, bolstered by a long-standing partnership with the Soviet Union and later Russia. This relationship has supported India through critical periods, providing defense supplies, assistance during wars, cooperation in nuclear energy, fossil fuels, and the Kashmir issue. Since 2010, the India-Russia Special and Privileged Strategic Partnership has expanded beyond traditional military and energy sectors. It is built on a strong historical foundation and often sustained by necessities. Recognizing its growing international role, Russia has backed India's membership in the Shanghai Cooperation Organization and called for United Nations Security Council reforms to include India. India values Russia as a crucial partner in its multi-alignment strategy, where New Delhi refrains from forming exclusive alliances with any major power, thereby maintaining productive strategic partnerships with multiple countries. In December last year, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar visited Moscow and held talks with Russian President Vladimir Putin. During his 5-day visit, 3 agreements were signed which included documents related to the Kundakalam nuclear power plants, a memorandum of understanding on pharmaceutical and healthcare cooperation, and a protocol on foreign office consultations. The Kremlin remains a significant geopolitical power that can help balance India's strategic concerns. It continues to offer diplomatic support to India in the UN Security Council and wields substantial influence in its broader continental neighborhood. Jessica Taneja for DD India.
And Jessica Taneja now joins us from Moscow for more. Jessica, walk us through the Prime Minister's itinerary in Moscow.
Well, he arrives tomorrow afternoon here in Moscow, and he will be welcomed by the Indian community here. Beginning with that, after that, he will be going to the Kremlin, where he is due to meet Vladimir Putin, where he'll be welcomed. And apart from that, there is also a state dinner planned for him. And the next day, we're given to understand he will be at the Atom exhibition just a little away from the Moscow Center, where he will be accompanied by President Vladimir Putin, showcasing the Soviet Union's nuclear industry expansion beyond weapons and into medicines and digital technology, digital infrastructure as well. So a packed schedule for the Prime Minister for the next 2 days. There are also, it's expected that discussions will come up on how to enhance trade ties, and those meetings will be held tomorrow, both tomorrow and day after. Apart from that, there is, of course, another event with the diaspora community where the Prime Minister will be interacting with the Indian community here. We spoke to the Indian community yesterday who are looking forward to the Prime Minister's visit and, of course, would want him to address certain issues and also take up their sort of inputs on various things and what they've been waiting to tell the Prime Minister. So there's a packed schedule for the Prime Minister's visit here for 2 days, Ramesh.
Clearly, all eyes would be on India and Russia for the next few days. Jessica, talk to us a bit, if you will, about the Modi-Putin talks in particular. Would, for instance, energy, trade and defense top the agenda of the talks?
Well, they certainly will be a significant part of the discussion, Ramesh, because as you'd recall, the historical relationship between India and Russia has been strengthened and has existed over many years when it comes to defense and energy. In the last 3 years, we've seen how the Russian crude imports have increased significantly to the tune of India saving at least $13 billion when it comes to crude imports because of the discounted Russian crude that India has been importing for the last 3 years. So that has, of course, enhanced over the years, leading to bilateral trade between the two countries to nearly 65 billion, which was earlier just in single digits. So, of course, there has been a significant improvement both in the defense and the energy sector. But here, the business community stresses on the fact that there are various sectors like pharmaceuticals and chemicals where there are very different representatives and businessmen who will be putting forth their issues and their challenges, and how to, of course, also iron out the payment system when it comes to the rupee-ruble trade. And as you'd know, 60% of the trade is in rupee and ruble. So that will be something to watch out for as well. Apart from the historic ties that the two enjoy, this is the 22nd annual summit and comes with a certain importance and certain highlight, so to say, because India and Russia, it is a unique relationship in a sense that these annual, bilateral visits are quite unique to the two nations, and this certainly takes the momentum further as to what the two countries have planned in the future beyond just their traditional energy ties and how they're looking to significantly enhance the commercial trade, and of course, as I pointed out, on how to look at particularly the payment mechanism that could help both the Indian businesses here as well as at home.
Jessica, thank you. Appreciate it. Jessica Taneja reporting there from Moscow.